Mr. Jordan.
Ambassador, President Trump's not a big fan of foreign aid. Is that right?
I don't know if that's a fair characterization. I think he's careful.
He's expressed concerns about foreign aid going to certain countries. Okay, fair enough. And he knew Ukraine was corrupt. Is that right?
He believed Ukraine was corrupt.
Yeah, and he wanted Europe to do more?
Definitely.
Definitely wanted Europe to do more. And the president had a belief that Ukrainian government officials, some senior Ukrainian government officials, supported his opponent in 2016. I won't go into all the details, but I think of the one member of parliament who said the majority of Ukrainian politicians want Hillary Clinton to win. So he had that belief as well. And obviously he understood what was happening. We got a brand new guy in Ukraine. This Zelensky guy wins, right?
Right.
And his party takes over, and President Trump wants to see, with all these other things that are of concern to him, he wants to see if this new guy is actually, as I like to say, the real deal, a real reformer, and actually going to deal with the corruption problem. So aid gets held up for 55 days. Gets held up on July 18th, and then is released on September 11th. But it seems to me more important than the 55-day pause is the 14 days when Ukraine realized aid was held up on the 29th. We've now had you testify to that. The two witnesses yesterday testified that, the Politico article. So aid gets held up on Ukraine learns aid is held on August 29th, and then, of course, released on September 11th. In those 14 days, there are three important meetings with senior government officials and President Zelensky. There's the August 29th meeting between Ambassador Bolton and President Zelensky. There's the meeting September 1st that you're a part of. Vice President Pence meets with President Zelensky. And then there's the meeting on September 5th where U.S. Senators Murphy and Johnson meet with President Zelensky. None of those meetings did any linkage to security assistance dollars and an announcement or start of any investigation ever come up. None of them. But it seems to me the one that's the most important is probably the one we've talked least about, and that's the September 5th meeting. Because that's actually a meeting where there is no one, well, it's much more congressional focused than White House focused. This is the meeting where Senators Murphy and Johnson, bipartisan, meet with President Zelensky. And what's interesting is what both senators in the last 2 days have given us letters recounting what happened in that meeting. Senator Murphy said, I broached the topic of pressure on Zelensky from Rudy Giuliani and the president's other emissaries to launch investigations into Trump's political rival. Murphy brought it up. You got two senators who both strong supporters of money going to Ukraine. These guys are all for it. And Senator Murphy, the Democrat, even brings up the issue everyone's been talking about. It seems to me if ever there was going to be a time where the president of Ukraine says, guys, you don't know what I'm dealing with. I'm getting pressure from the president of the United States. He wants me to do this. I got to make it. It seems if ever there was a time that the president of Ukraine, the new guy, who now knows the aid has been on hold, if ever there was a time to bring it up, that would have been the time. But guess what? At no time, Senator Johnson tells us, at no time during this meeting or on any other meeting on this trip was there any mention by Zelensky or any other Ukrainian that they were feeling pressure to do anything in return for military aid. Not even, Senator Johnson says, not even after Murphy warned them about getting involved in the election. So Murphy gave this big deal on Giuliani and nothing. And guess what Murphy also said? I do not dispute any of Senator Johnson's factual representations regarding the meeting. If ever it was going to happen, September 5th was the day. No one from the White House there, not Ambassador Bolton, not Vice President, no one there. But even then it didn't happen. And we got all kinds of other meetings when it didn't happen. And of course, as you testified earlier, there was never an announcement. You said there were 3 quid pro quos, but there weren't, because there was never an announcement. I mean, this is as clear as it gets, but these guys want to keep stirring it up based on no direct evidence whatsoever. And the best direct evidence we have is actually what the president told you. I want nothing. There is no quid pro quo. I want Zelensky to do exactly what he campaigned on. And when that became clear to us, guess what? They got the money. They got the money. God bless America. It all worked out, right? This is crazy what we're going through because the facts are so darn clear. I yield back.